Hey everybody, Clint here at Sundance. I got a chance to see Knock Knock, Eli Roth's latest movie. So this movie stars Keanu Reeves, and it's not Eli Roth's normal bloodbath, hostile kind of movie. It is still very much a horror film, but instead of using the gore as the horror here, he uses temptation and fidelity and sexuality, and it actually is kind of cool. So it's about Keanu Reeves, who is a very happy family man. They spend about the first 10 or 15 minutes of the movie really showing you how happy it is. It's Father's Day, and it's all, I love you, Dad, and I love you too, son, and oh, I love you too, wife, and everybody is super happy. But the movie starts when he finds himself alone for the weekend while his family's out of town and he had to stay home to work. So that is when the movie really starts. It's when two young, soaking wet girls show up in the middle of the night claiming to have gotten lost while finding their way to a party. They spend the whole night trying to seduce him, and ultimately Keanu can't resist, even though he puts up one hell of a fight. Ultimately, he gives in. Then, of course, it turns out that the girls are completely insane and that they're using this to punish Keanu Reeves for his infidelity. And this is the part of the movie that really, it kind of goes off the rails. Up until this point, both Keanu Reeves and Eli Roth did a really good job of keeping the movie really in the character's perspective. Like, it starts out when these girls show up as sort of this weird kind of masturbatory fantasy, and then it transitions as the girls start flirting with him into this really effective middle-aged guy with younger women kind of dynamic that's super awkward, and the girls start flirting just a little bit more. And then when it's clear that the girls are not going to take no for an answer, it turns into this panicky kind of, oh God, what am I going to do with this? But then once the act itself happens, which in itself is shot in a really sort of horror film looking dynamic with a lot of really quick cuts, and it's over in a flash without really knowing what's going on. It really did feel like a horror movie up until that point. From then on, it starts to get a little stock in terms of the torture porn stuff that you've come to expect. They keep Keanu Reeves tied to a chair, they torture him, it dips its toes into kind of a morality play about, you know, who was right and who was wrong, but ultimately it's really kind of frustrating and unclear as to the motivations of who's doing what and why. And there's actually a really refreshing point towards the end of the movie where Keanu Reeves just screams about how stupid this is and how crazy it is and how none of it makes sense and how he doesn't know what these girls want. And it was really funny because I wanted to scream the exact same thing at the exact same moment. So it was a really fun moment in the theater, but I think for the wrong reasons. But at the end of the day, the message of the movie seems to be that men can't help themselves when confronted with young women that are throwing themselves at them. And on top of that, they're going to be punished for that. And on top of that, that's not fair. And ultimately, I just couldn't go there with Eli Roth. But the movie has some funny moments, it has some campy moments, and it has some really cool elements of horror in there. So if you're an Eli Roth fan, definitely check this one out because it's a different slant on his usual voice. And the performances were solid too. Keanu Reeves is giving everything he has, especially in the front half of the movie. He's this awkward middle-aged guy confronted with what he later in the film calls free pizza. The two girls are pretty good. Had their characters been more rooted in the script, I think it would have been more effective, but what they play really well off of each other, and ultimately they pull off what they're supposed to pull off. So that's what I think of Knock Knock. Again, if you're an Eli Roth fan, definitely go check it out. I'm Clint. This is Cinefix on Moviefone. Stay right here for more Sundance coverage.